Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm Nicholas Johnston. I'm the publisher of Axios. Whoops. This is actually our first event ever in Lansing. We are very happy to be here. Axios Local is just down the road in Detroit. We are not here yet, but I really want to get here. And if you want to help, come grab me after this event. I'll be standing off on the sidelines somewhere. We are always on the hunt looking for partners to help us expand our local journalism footprint around the country. Speaking of partners, like nothing we do at Axios is that possible without the support of our partners. The investments we make in journalism, great events like this. So huge thanks to Mastercard for not just making today's conversation possible, but for convening these kinds of conversations all around the country. And so I'm very excited to welcome back to the Axios stage for a view from the top conversation, Mike Cressy, the Mastercard's Executive Vice President for Commercial Payment Flows. Mike, welcome back to the Axios stage. Good to see you again. How are you?
Hello, everybody.
Let's start a little big picture. So, like, why is this conversation important to Mastercard, and why are small businesses so important to Mastercard?
Yeah, I think I'd look at it a few different ways. First of all, this specific conversation is so important because if I and the team and all of Mastercard employees are not in the market, actually listening to the needs of consumers and small businesses and large corporates and governments and all the stakeholders in the ecosystem, then we don't actually know what it is that we can be doing and how we can be helping and facilitate financial inclusion and facilitate a safe, secure, efficient, personalized payments environment. But more specifically, small businesses form 99.9% of the businesses in our economy. Small businesses account for close to half the jobs in our economy. Small businesses account for 60% of all new jobs in our economy. Small businesses are the backbone of every town we walk into, every state we walk into, and of our nation. And ultimately, when we think about small businesses, this is where innovation happens. This is where you see a ton of tenacity and you see a lot of resilience, even though there's a bunch of changes that are happening at any given time with policy and just the trade flows at large. So this is just a very exciting time for us to be able to spend with you this morning and really listen and understand the different challenges that you're facing and how Mastercard can help.
That's what I've loved about this too. For me personally, it's been great to just get out of Washington, D.C. and talk to actual small business owners. Like I've heard from a couple just in here today about what
I would think it's always great to get out of Washington, D.C., but that's just me, maybe.
Oh, come on. That's an easy joke. Let's zero in a little bit on the conversations you've been having. Let's start on your particular area of expertise, like innovations in like payment processing and transactions. Like what are you seeing on like the horizon, like at the cutting edge for small businesses on that?
Yeah, I think there's a few things, right? When we think about payment processing, that can create such a narrow view of what it is that Mastercard actually does. When you think about payments are just a part of an overall transaction that starts with making sure that people know who you are, awareness, then customer acquisition from that awareness, like what is it that customer wants? I mean, I was at the coffee shop just down the street, and what I wanted was to take a big bite into one of those cinnamon swirl breads they had, but I held off. But what is it that your customer actually wants? And then how can you provide your good or service to meet that customer need? Really customer acquisition. And so a lot of the innovation that we see happening around payments is starting at the beginning of that customer journey. Then as you start to go down that continuum of it's time for that moment of truth, it's time for that customer payment. What our survey results show is that small businesses that offer 4 or more payment options, so think beyond just traditional cash and check, those that offer 4 or more payment options generally increase their sales by about 30%. And it's typically those businesses that end up scaling. And so on average, those that offer 4 or more payment options versus those that offer fewer than 4, they're 7 times the size typically over time because of that 30% more sales that compounds. And so there's a ton there. And this payments conversation can be about acceptance. Do you accept a card? But the reality is that it's really a conversation around, do you know that's a secure payment? Do you know that's a payment that's going to settle real time? Do you know that that's a payment that ultimately is from that particular individual, that it's fully fraud-free? And more importantly, as a small business, how are you using carded solutions for your own purchases so that you're getting the 30 days or 45 days of cyclical working capital that you need for your business, so that you have rewards so that you can take that trip with your family to go on that vacation after working 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, right? And take that step away. And so there's a lot of payments innovation that's taken place to make payments more secure, more fast, more seamless, and really more personalized to try to delight not only the consumer, but you as the small business owner.
So let's widen the aperture a little bit, zoom out a little bit. Beyond payment processing, what are the trends you're seeing in small business that seem interesting or exciting?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that some of them are exciting. Some of them are real challenges that we face, right? So ultimately, access to capital comes up in every one of the cities that we go around the country. How are we helping small businesses gain more efficient access to capital? And that's something where Mastercard leans in with all of the data that we have, being able to make sure that we're able to provide to financial institutions, alternative lenders, enhanced data around your business so that they're more comfortable lending so that you can get the working capital that you need to be able to drive forward. The second one that we hear is talent and access to talent. And you heard the mayor talking about building out housing and creating a positive reinforcing ecosystem here in Lansing and throughout the state. Ultimately, that talent acquisition, to get the latest talent, you need to have digital tools that the latest talent that's graduating can work on. I've got 3 daughters in their 20s, and I don't know if any of you know this, but first of all, you probably all know I'm in trouble because I've got 3 daughters in my 20s. But I don't know if you know, but 70% of millennials don't think about going and working for some corporate. They think about either starting their own small business or they think about joining a small business, something that's personal, something where they know the owner, they can believe in the owner, they can believe in the mission, the quality of the product, right? Whatever it is, they want to be blended into that. And so we see access to talent as really a key theme that's really out there. And then last is cyber. Right? Ultimately, 50% of cyber attacks happen on small businesses. The average attack impacts a small business to the tune of $150,000 to $200,000. That takes an $800,000 a year business, a $500,000 a year business, takes them out. Right? So where is the opportunity there to really protect around cyber? So MasterCard's really focused on how are we helping you get access to capital, how are we helping you acquire talent, and how are we helping really protect you so that you're not taken advantage of or put through a fraud scheme.
So you've outlined a little bit of a list of challenges and a list of opportunities there. If you spin this forward, like what do you see as the future? What makes you optimistic? What makes you excited about small business?
So let's start just where we were, right? Which is ultimately I have so much faith in our country and our country's success because of the people that are sitting in this room. Small business owners are practical. They're gritty. Right? Small business owners know how to get stuff done, is the way that I call it. Other people use a different word in the middle there, but get stuff done, right? It's about the practicalities of what really matters and really focusing on the bottom line. And so, first of all, what gives me a lot of optimism is I've got gritty, intelligent, intuitive, nimble entrepreneurs that are really figuring out how to reinvent and how to take things to the next level. That gives me a ton of optimism. The second is the boom of artificial intelligence really is going to help small businesses in terms of the talent war that's currently out there. And I call it a talent war because it's hard to hire, right? And so where do you have opportunities to be able to bring new capabilities into your enterprise and scale using automated digital tools and artificial intelligence? And then the third area is really it is a lot of us in the ecosystem, so not just MasterCard, but financial institutions, are really focused on small business. And I don't want to say it's for the first time, but what I will tell you is I've seen over the last 18 to 24 months in particular, it's gone from talk track to action. So even at Mastercard, we have our small business community that we've built out. We have our digital doors that we've brought to market to really help you digitize. We have our Strive program that also helps you to digitize. And in our workshop later today, we'll be talking about some of those tools. We have our Small Business Navigator that gives you financial advice and gives you business advice in a box. And so not only are we investing, right? This is not a Mastercard commercial. I see financial institutions and our whole ecosystem starting to invest in small businesses. People finally waking up to the truth that it's you that our economy is all about.
Before we run out of time, let's end on one fun thing, just like we did with the mayor. We were talking earlier, you're kind of a small business super user. If you had to pick one, what would be the one you'd want to highlight here on stage, or one small business to go?
Yeah, the good news is I don't have the same risks that the mayor has in,
You can pick one.
in taking that on. I can actually pick one, right? And there's a lot, and I'll tell a story in a second, but before I do, I recently moved to Manhattan, and as someone that was raised on the West Coast, it's a bit of culture shock. One of the best things about it is as I walk down the street, it's small business, small business, small business, small business, and everyone's got a story, and my youngest daughter and I want to write a book called It's Good to Chat People Up, because when you talk to people, good things happen, I find. And ultimately, as you talk to these people and you hear their backstories, it's phenomenal. But for me, my favorite small business story is in our town in California. There's, with the 3 daughters, when they were going through elementary school and going through middle school and going through high school, where are they hanging out? Who are they hanging out with? Like, what's that location? And a family, when my kids were in that sort of range of 8 to 13, built a store called Yogurt Shack, which is a frozen yogurt shack. And there was a couple of frozen yogurt places, but they made this place a hang. And all of a sudden, that's just where all the kids started hanging out and spending time. And all of us always knew where they were. The family that owned the establishment was loving on the kids. They were hiring the kids as they were coming into high school. And they were training them up on what it meant to be an employee, what it meant to be a contributor to the community. And it really built that whole community feel. And that's my favorite small business that I think about, because at the end of the day, you are the fabric, you are the foundation of our communities. You're our friends, you're our neighbors, and you're really the future of this country.
Mike, that's a great note to end on. Thanks so much for being here. Huge thanks to Mastercard for making today possible. We're going to bring Erica back up to keep the conversations going.
Thanks, everybody.